Batman. This Batman the cat. He loves his fishing, right, Batman? Mascot of the channel. Everyone say hi to Batman in the comments. So today I'm going to start out with an unboxing targeting walleye and smallmouth bass. And I bought a new rod, a new reel, and a bunch of different lures and plastics that I'm going to use to target these fish. And I'll speak about the techniques and the reasons why I purchased these products. So one of the first things that you really need to have when you're doing walleye fishing and even smallmouth bass is you want to have your Lake Masters charts. And I have the Humminbird Helix 5. Obviously you can get the bigger ones if you have a bigger boat, but I have a small boat. So the Helix 5, you put the chip in there, and now this gives you all the line contours for all the different lakes. So I can actually look at a lake I've never fished before and say I want to catch these fish between 10 and 12 feet of water. So I can set my depth markers and it highlights everything that's in that depth that I want to fish. And now I can, if I catch fish on this side of the lake at 10, 12 feet, I can pretty much go anywhere within the lake. We're also looking for weed line and rocky bottoms, shallow flats. So it really helps to have the technology of sonar side imaging as well. We'll go into, let's start with the rod and reel. So the rod that I'm going to be using is a St. Croix rod. It just came in, and you cannot beat St. Croix. They have a great price point and their warranty. Nothing like using the rod, and if you have an issue with it, you break it, for any fault of the rod, they're going to replace it for you. So this one is a 6'8" medium extra fast tip. And the reason I'm using this setup, it's specifically dialed in for snap jigging. So when I'm snap jigging, I'm casting away from the boat, I'm allowing my jig to fall to the bottom, and then I'm going to snap it quickly and let it come off the bottom and then naturally fall on its own slack line. So you want to have a fast tip because you want to be able to snap, and as you're snapping, if the fish grabs a hold, you don't want to rip the hooks out of the fish's mouth. So if you have, like if you're bass fishing and you're using a jerk bait, you're going to want to pull in hooks. So this is going to allow me to have the sensitivity to be able to hook up, keep the fish pinned, but stiff enough that when I'm lifting and snapping the jig, the rod can handle it and it's not, you know, wishy-washy. So 6'8" medium. I'll give you the description. I'll put links to all the rods, reels, and stuff that I have. But alright guys, so the model number is the MJS, so it's the Mojo series. And then 6'8", it stands for 6'8", medium action, extra fast tip. That's what you want to be using for your snap jigs. And it's great for kayak fishing as well because it's a shorter rod. You can you know, cast under trees and kayak, and you know, a 7-foot, 8-foot rod gets to be a little crazy. So that would be the rod. And then the reel I got is the Piscifun Carbon X. So the Carbon X reel, this is a 2000 size that I'm pairing up with that. And this one will hold 150 yards at 15-pound braid. I also got it with the extra spool, so I can try different things. Maybe have this one set up with fluoro, and then this one is braid. You want to use braid because you want to be able to feel that bite. As soon as he touches the bait, you want to be able to know you got a fish on there. So the sensitivity of braid, you can't beat it. You're going to pair it up with a fluorocarbon leader, 3-4 feet fluorocarbon, do a uni to uni knot, and put the two lines together. And the Piscifun reel comes in a nice velvet bag. And you can just screw on the handle. I have it paired up with the Power Pro. I already put the line on. Put the Power Pro 10-pound braid, and then like I say, I go to the fluorocarbon leader 8-pound leader. And you definitely want to use a light braid like that. It's like a 2-pound diameter, so the line is going to sink faster. If you're using 20-pound braid, you're using a light jig, you're not going to get down deep enough and fast enough. You want to be able to hit bottom right away and rocket that bait. These small baits can swim really fast, but for short distances. So the fish get behind them, they see it dart, it triggers them to attack, and that's how you get most of your strikes. So let's start out with the jig heads. So I'm fishing anywhere between, it depends on the water temperature. That's going to tell you where you're really going to find these fish, and it doesn't really matter what lake you're on. The water temperature does dictate. It dictates when they're going to spawn. It's going to let you know pretty much where you need to be. If you have a storm front come through, things can alter. They may go a little deeper. But I'm going to take out some of these jigs, and then we'll get into the plastics. So, swim bait fishing. When the water gets up over 50 degrees, the fish are looking for a bigger meal. They're coming out of their spawn, and they want to feed. So you want to go with a bigger bait and a more aggressive snap jig, and you want to put a swim bait attached to that. And I'll go through the plastics that I'm using, but primarily I'm going to go with 3/8 ounce, because the swim bait actually is buoyant and it's going to keep you from getting down there. So if you're using a different type of bait, you can go to a lighter jig head, and I'll go through that with the plastics. But I got a bunch of these Kalins, and I'll put the link in the description. And these are a rattling jig head. You can hear it makes a noise, so it's going to give off sound and vibration, and the fish will key in on that. So I got a bunch of those. And then, and those are going to be in the 3/8 ounce. And then I went down a little bit smaller, so I went to a 1/8 ounce, and I got the green chartreuse head, because the water that I'm fishing, sometimes to get a lot of boat traffic, it stirs up the lake, and the fish gets a little not as clear. So you need to maybe use a jig that's going to give off some color so the fish could key on that. And like I said, I'm going between 1/8 ounce and 3/8 of an ounce, some different brighter jigs. So now the two plastics, and then I'll talk about smallmouth bass. So the two type of plastics that I was saying is the swim bait, and this one's called a tickle tail, and the color is called Silver Ghost. So I can't zoom in from here, but it's a very clear bait, and I'm going to team that up with the swim bait Google jig and put that on there. And I'm just going to cast that out. I'm going to swim it off the bottom, let it fall. And you're not just going to catch walleye. You're out there. I mean, I could hook into a muskie or a largemouth or a smallmouth bass, but I'm trying to hone in. I'm trying to use my sonar, and I'm trying to target the walleye that are in this lake. They do get to be, somewhere 12, 14 pounds, some of them. So I'd like to see myself catch one. Another one that's really good for snap jigging is this Jerk Minnow Junior. The Jerk Minnow Junior, I got it in a couple of different colors, the clear and then the darker ones. These are going to fall faster. The swim bait, like I said, gets held up and it won't fall as fast. So you can fish these on a lighter jig head and it'll sink faster. You can use a heavier jig head when you're using a bigger bait, and that's what's going to really primarily keep you down on the bottom where you need to be in the target range to catch these fish. So next time you see me, I will be out on the water. I'm hoping to get out today, but I got a storm coming through. But if not, it'll be within the next couple of days. And I'm going to actually rig these up, and we will use them on the water. And hopefully we'll hook into a couple of nice fish. Oh, I almost forgot. I also got some of these Kalen's Marabou jig heads. This is a black hand-tied jig head, and these work really good for smallmouth bass. So I'm going to be able to get down to the bottom and snap jig with the same rod and setup. We're hoping to really catch some nice smallmouth coming up. The water temperature is getting up over 50, and the fish should really be keying in on feeding up. So, alright guys, so since I'm probably going to get rained out today and I couldn't get out and fish, I figured I'd do a quick unboxing and terminal tackle video for you. If you guys liked it, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. As always, be safe out there everyone, and tight lines to all.